We're now going to look at the system requirements for Revit. Autodesk provides different levels of requirements, from the minimum requirement up to high performance requirements, and depending on what kind of output you're looking at to get out of Revit, you need to apply those requirements to your needs. The first is a minimum, which is an entry level configuration, and this is also what is required to run Revit LT. This allows for a typical editing session for a single model up to approximately 100 megabytes. An example of this will be a small housing project. You will find that large models, high CPU usage tasks, and renders will slow the computer down. The key requirements for this are Windows 10 or Windows 11 at a 64-bit rate. The highest affordable CPU is recommended for Revit, with a minimum of 8 gigabytes of RAM. The basic graphics standards would be a display adapter capable of 24-bit color, and for advanced graphics, the minimum requirement would be a DirectX 11 capable graphics card with shader Model 5 and a minimum of 4 gigabytes of video memory. It's also required that you have a minimum of 30 gigabytes free disk space on your computer. It is essential to use an external mouse, and as well a strong internet connection is advised to download the software. Next is a balance between price and performance. For your operating system, a 64-bit Windows 10 or 11 is advised, and again the highest CPU gigahertz that is affordable to you is recommended. Memory is a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM. The video adapter would be a DirectX 11 capable graphics card with shader Model 5 and a minimum of 4 gigabytes of video memory. Disk spaces as well, 30 gigabytes free. And lastly is the high performance for large complex models. It's the same as before, only this time they do require a 32 gigabytes of RAM for memory. If you're using Revit 2023, the certified graphics cards are listed here. So we have an Intel iSeries, the Xeon, AMD, Ryzen Threadripper Pro, 2.5 gigahertz or higher. If you're using a previous version of Revit, you can go to the certified graphics hardware page where you can check to see if your hardware is approved by Autodesk. Next, we're going to download the software, and Autodesk offer you a free 30-day trial simply by creating a business user account. If you are a student or educator, you can avail of a 1-year free license. To qualify for this, you must be a student, faculty, qualified educational institution, or other authorized education user. Next, we're going to click on the download free trial. So here I'm going to select the business user account. Press next. If you have an account already, you'll simply sign in here. If not, you'll come down to create account at the bottom. Here we're going to enter in all of our details. So our name, last name, email, confirmation of that email. We'll write in a password and also agree to the terms and conditions. And once you've entered in the information, click on create account. Now we have our account created. If you wish to sign up to their mailing list, please tick the box. If not, we'll select done. Next, you need to verify your phone, so you'll need to enter in your area code and number, and you'll receive a text or a call. Next, they want to find out the company name, state, zip code, phone number, and country of residence. And once you've entered in the information, the download will begin. The next stage, the software installer will automatically begin downloading. Once complete, we can either click on the installer on the bottom left-hand corner or select the drop-down arrow and select Open. This will start the install process. I'm going to speed up the video at this point, so please do pause to allow for your installation to catch up. Here we'll simply click on the Install button. Next, we're presented with the license agreement, so we'll have a quick read through that, and once finished, we'll select I accept. We'll then click on the Next button. The next screen is where we can configure the installation. First is the software itself. Then it's the core content for Revit, like family templates and libraries. Next is the additional language family libraries, and I want to use the UK metric library. So this is where I'm going to select that library. I do so by clicking on the blue eye symbol and then going to the website. During the course, I do use the UK metric library, so please install that for this course. And then once complete, if you wish to use a different library, you can then come back and install that after, to then use after you finish the course. So I'll be selecting the UK template. I'll do so by simply clicking once, and that will begin the download, and we'll then click on install. Again, I've sped up the video process. So the software has now been installed, and just to ensure that, we'll check that all the headings have a green tick. If not, you should restart the install process. Finally, we'll click on Launch Now. And here you see I've got my 30 days free trial. If you wanted to subscribe, you can click here, or if you have a license, you can also do that here. I'm shown a notification bubble, which is going to help me get started. So I'll click on Start. I'm asked to select all disciplines that apply to me while I work, for example, architecture, structure, or mechanical. So I'm going to choose architecture, and then asked which best describes my job role. I'll choose architect, and the software has configured my workspace for me. So we can try this out at the beginning, but you can always revert back and change this if you wish. The last thing we need to do is we need to configure the library and the file paths. So I'm going to click on New. Here we'll see a list of all the different templates in both Imperial and Metric, and I want to fix this to only show Metric. So I'm going to choose the Metric architectural template and click OK. If you have no templates here, we'll just press on Default and press OK. So if I go to my type selector, I can see that the library is not the UK library, so we need to fix that. So I'll go to File, Options, and there's my file locations. This is where we can change our project templates on our default path for our library content. First thing I want to do is remove the Imperial templates, and I do so by clicking on it. Then I go to the left hand side, there's a minus symbol, which will then remove that template. And now I'm left with only the metric templates. I now want to ensure that the template has the correct file path. So first I want to click on the construction template, and once I click on the template, a small grey box appears which we want to click on. Here as well, I'll select the UK construction template. I'm going to do the exact same procedure for the architectural and structural templates. Lastly, I'm going to rename each of the templates just so we can remove the metric from the heading. So now it just reads construction, architectural, and structural. Just below that is the default path for user files. I'm going to leave that in my documents for now. If you wanted to change that, you go to the browser and reconfigure the file path. And then below that is the default path for family templates. So when I click on browse, it brings me into the family template folder, and I then select the English folder below. That is the root path for point clouds. At the very bottom, there is a Places button, which we're going to look at next. This is where we'll reconfigure our library file path. On the left, we have our library name, and on the right is our library file path. I'll select the path on the right-hand side, and then I'll select the gray box. And I notice that the library doesn't actually exist, so we need to fix that. So I'll cancel this, and cancel again, and cancel again. Next, I want you to open up the file browser from your computer. We'll have two windows either side. So we'll have our C drive on the left and our downloads on the right. Earlier on, we downloaded the templates and libraries straight from the Autodesk website. First thing we need to do is extract the library from that file. So we'll right click and run as administrator. You see my Windows Defender is trying to block that. So to get around that, we'll click on more information and then run anyway. If you can't run as administrator, you'll need to log out and log in the administrator account. Next, we just need to extract the file, so we'll click on extract. We'll then place the library in the correct folder. So on the left-hand side in our C drive folder, we need to access the program data. So in order to do that, we go to the top. We'll change our tab over to the View tab. Then in the Show Hide, we want to click on Hidden Items, and that will reveal the program data folder. So we'll scroll down to Revit and the year, so it'll be 2023 or the version you have. It can also appear as RLT. So we'll double click on that and then double click on the Libraries folder and then double click on the UK folder, and there we'll see the full metric library. So I'll go back and click on File Options, File Locations, down to Places. We're then going to delete out the Imperial. Now we'll go to the metric library. So we need to hit on the folder back button until we arrive at the Autodesk folder. We'll then scroll down to our Revit or Revit LT plus the year. Double click on the library, double click on the UK. We've now reconfigured the file path, and to test everything out and everything is okay, we'll go to the Insert tab, go to Load Family, and it should automatically open up the UK library. To test the templates, I'm going to close down this drawing and come back to the start screen. We'll select our template. There we have our construction, architectural, and structure. So we'll click on the architecture, press OK. So I'll go to my wall tool, and there we'll see my UK library. And it's the same for the doors. And we can then go to Load Family, and it will bring us into the UK library folder. So everything has worked out. If it hasn't, you need to go back and redo this video from the start.